That's awesome. Okay. Oops. There. Does everyone see that? You can see my screen, right?
Yes.
No.
You can't see it?
I cannot. I see you.
Oh, what did I
Well,
do? See, I think they changed Zoom because I know that Stacy was having problems. I can't find, like, the bar's going away. Usually you just scroll over it and it's there, but my toolbar is gone.
I thought it wasn't just me.
No, I don't think it's just you, because I'm like, normally you just scroll and it's there, but I thought I clicked share screen and it's gone. I don't know where it went. So it's not just you. I think they changed it because I can't figure it out now. I'm like, what happened? Oh, okay. I don't think I clicked the button.
there you are.
Oh, there you go.
All right, hold on. Now can you see the office meeting?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I think they've changed something because it's different than it was last month, Stacy. So it was not just you. All right, so welcome everyone to the May office meeting. We have lots of stuff to talk about. But the first thing, I just want to wish all you mamas out there a happy Mother's Day. And also you grandmas to be, Mara. And, you know, guys, Stephanie is going to be a mama next week.
Yeah.
She's scheduled to deliver on the 15th. So she is like 4 days away from officially holding her little baby boy. So it's very exciting. I'm wondering, I can move that. So I feel like you're looking at that if that's there. Okay. So the next thing we wanted to talk about, I don't know if any of you guys have been hearing about this commission lawsuit against NAR that's been going on. Probably you maybe have heard rumblings, but it's been going on for a while against NAR, and this week it just got moved to class action status. So basically what is happening is there are homeowners that are suing NAR across the country because, and also like, so it's the bigger brokerages that are being named in it. So basically, it was actually Wednesday, a federal judge ruled in favor of it becoming a class action suit. And the suits against NAR and brokerages like Remax and Keller Williams are named in it for conspiring to inflate commission rates. So what they're claiming is that for sellers to make a blanket unilateral offer of compensation to buyers' brokers when a home is placed for sale on the multiple listing violates the law. The plaintiffs are saying that the system is pressuring sellers to offer higher commissions to bring in buyers' brokers. So what that means is, and you know, we've heard it, like, I know for a fact Keller Williams was like forcing their agents to tell people they have to pay a certain commission, and it's just not true. Commission is negotiable. There is no set fee that a seller has to pay, and they were really pressuring sellers, and it's coming back to bite them in the booty. So there's, you know, they're saying that sharing of the commissions between the listing and the buyer broker violates the Sherman Antitrust Act. So, and it was actually scheduled to go to trial last month, but it was postponed to October. So this has been ongoing. But what this kind of means to you guys is NAR keeps pushing back. They do have deep pockets, but they're not getting anywhere. So most likely we are going to see a change in how buyer brokers are paid. So kind of just, you know, I've been doing this, gosh, this year it'll be 25 years. And it's always been the way that it is, but there's going to be a change. So what that kind of means to you guys is that you just need to make sure, A, you're really explaining the paperwork, the commissions, what it's going towards, how it works. You need to have a strong buyer presentation that you need to get put together when you're talking to your buyers to explain things, because it's looking like it may go to buyers having to pay their agents. Now, that being said, we all know the buyers don't have a lot of money. So most likely there'll be some sort of way, it's either going to be included in the closing costs and wrapped into the loan or something, because buyers aren't going to necessarily just have money to pay their agent because they struggle to get their down payment. So, but just be kind of prepared. Just, you got to have that strong, presentation for your buyers, because it's going to change in how we get paid. I just see it coming, and you need to be able to explain what you do and how you get paid and why they should pay you, and all the importance of that. So just that's kind of it, just making you aware that this is ongoing and it's going to bring changes at some point, but we'll see how long NAR keeps fighting it and where we actually come out at the other end. But people should be aware and be thinking and planning ahead.
Yeah, we never want to put things under the rug, right? So, as you guys hear about this, if you guys have questions, reach out to us. And this is obviously NAR. So the sellers won in this case, and the brokerages have to pay the sellers back. And then the sellers are going after NAR to change how commissions are paid. Because in certain states, the brokerages were saying, hey, well, this is the set commission. And I was just up in Payson, and certain brokerages were telling my client, well, this is the commission. This is what it is. And I said, well, absolutely not. That's not the commission. Commission is negotiable. It always is. And it's up to the client. And then they actually told my client that they would not show the property if they got paid less amount. It was pretty impressive. So, there's already been an uproar the last couple of years of sellers frustrated that they're even having to pay buyers co-broke. And you can see it happening in the new home sales, right? When it was super busy, they took away paying commissions. And so things don't stay forever. Things are going to change. So yeah, like Lisa said, just like you have a good listing presentation, have a good buyer presentation, because clients will interview you to be the buyer agent. The listings lab talks about your processes and putting that together and creating your worksheets and your processes. And that should be in your marketing. It's not about the buyer broker agreement, because a lot of agents don't explain that form properly, and that legally can be broken, right? But yeah, what Lisa and I are hearing is that buyers would be able to pay their agent in the mortgage, which technically it kind of already is in a way. It's just all on paper. We just see it coming from the seller in a way. So it'll just look differently on the net sheet. So I don't know. It depends on how quickly this could happen. When I was hearing it, they were saying 12 months to 2 years out, but it could come sooner. So I don't know. And when Lisa and I were talking last month to discuss this, Arizona wasn't even in this lawsuit. Now they are. So, it's just really important that when you're meeting with your clients, you explain to them everything in the contracts, right? And our listing paperwork, and I don't know what Washington looks like or any other states, our listing paperwork actually says the actual commission for the listing and then what you're paying the buyer agent, the co-broke. And that is what should be explained to the seller. Right?
Right.
So if you're not meeting with them and they're signing via e-sign, point it out to them and save that documentation. Make a point, highlight it on the e-sign so they see it. You know, go a step further. Change it in your listing presentation and make a point to point it out. Stacy said something in the chat. Some lenders will now allow agents to pay buyers down payments. Oh, I haven't heard that. Yeah, I haven't heard about maybe as a gift. I think anyone can always gift stuff. It probably just depends on their loan, but yeah, stuff's changing. So, but you know, who would have thought we were going to get less than 2% for co-broke too? So, anyway, we'll, as things change, we may send out notification too. It may not be during office meetings, but if you guys have questions, let us know. This isn't to scare you. It's just to let you know, because, you know, we're always changing. Guys, when I got my license, our documents were carbon copied. So, I mean, we didn't have software to write a contract. It was all carbon copied, and we had to keep our contracts in the sales office. And I don't even think we didn't have social media. So things have changed so much. I mean, we had fax machines still. So, I mean, things need to move along and change. It's okay. It's evolution. So just don't freak out over it. There's always a way we're always looking to get better and to improve. And this is good. Those that want to get better will, because, you know, you want to keep making money and you want to be successful. So we're saying this now so that you guys can work on your buyer presentations, your listing presentations, like, you know, get good at it and be strong and go through your coaching stuff. It's all there for you, with or without being in a coaching program. So.
Yeah. So yeah, like she said, not to scare you, just to keep you in the know and be prepared. Things are always changing, and sometimes it's for the better, you know, so we'll see where we end up with this. Next thing I kind of wanted to go over, they've been doing a contract series, and they go over different parts of the contract. This one in particular, remedies for breach of contract. It's probably the one I get the most calls on, because of course, you know, when things are going good, nobody wants to talk to me, but that's okay. I only get calls when things are bad, but it's seriously though, that's okay. So, kind of want to walk you through the process of exactly what happens if things aren't going well in your contract and people aren't following the contract. So before there can actually be a breach of contract, you have to cure someone. There's a cure period where the party is given the opportunity to cure the non-compliance to the potential breach of that contract. The breach is when they fail to perform the contractual duty. But so if they are not doing a non-compliance to something in the contract, you have to cure them, because there are no automatic breaches of the contract. So you can't just say, well, you didn't do this, then I'm canceling. Can't do that until there's a cure. You have to give them that opportunity to correct it. So, you know, if you were to send them the cure notice on Wednesday, it's 3 days. It's just like counting the inspections. So they would have until, so you would count Thursday, Friday, Saturday. They'd have until Saturday at midnight to fix what they've done, the non-compliance, and be back in compliance with the contract. So you have to give them that opportunity before you can move forward with a breach and cancel the contract or take the earnest money. So yes, we kind of went over this, that they've got 3 days from receiving that cure notice to fix the non-compliance. But in the event that the non-breaching party doesn't correct it, then the non-breaching party can pursue all the legal remedies subject to the alternative dispute and resolution section set forth in the contract. So the contract kind of spells out what happens next if they breach the contract and they haven't fixed the non-compliance. So the remedies for a breach of contract can include forfeiture of the earnest money for liquidated damages, actual damages, money to remedy the breach, forfeiture of the contract, so cancellation or specific performance, forcing the breaching party to perform. So in the event of the buyer's breach, the seller may accept the earnest money as the sole right to damages. Now, typically when there's a breach, most of the time, it's typically the buyer. That's usually who's doing it. That's who's breaching. It's rarely the seller, but it does happen. So it's a lot easier when it's the buyer. Typically, sellers just take the earnest money and walk away, and that's the end of it, and the house goes back on the market. But in the event of the buyer's breach arising from the failure to deliver the notice of inability to obtain loan approval, or the inability to, like, let's say like they waived the appraisal and it didn't appraise, but then they can't move forward. It states right in the contract that the seller already has agreed to accept the earnest money as the sole right to damages. So in the event that the buyer does not tell you that they couldn't get loan approval or notify you of that, or that they can't move forward because the house didn't appraise, but they had waived the appraisal, seller has already agreed to take the earnest money, and that's the end of it. That's where it ends. That's how the contract is written. So, and also, I'm like getting ahead of myself here. So anyway, finally, if the parties have expressly agreed that the failure of any party to comply with those terms and conditions of that section 1D of the contract to allow close of escrow to occur on that close of escrow date, if it's not cured after the cure period notice, then you can move forward with the constitute of a material breach of that contract, rendering the contract subject to cancellation. And then from there, you go into your alternative dispute resolution, mediation, and arbitration section. So the contract states that the buyer and the seller agree to mediate any dispute or claim arising out of or relating to that contract, and all mediation costs will be paid equally. And it says if the mediation does not resolve the dispute, then the unresolved dispute must be submitted to binding arbitration unless either party opts out within 30 days after the conclusion of the mediation by notice to the other. If a party opts out of the arbitration, either party then has the right to resort to court action. So also you should note that things that are contingencies to the contract are not a breach of contract. So them having to get a loan to qualify to buy the home. If they can't get the loan and they deliver the notice to you that they were denied a loan, that is not a breach of contract. Or if it's contingent on them selling a house by a certain time and the house didn't sell, so they can't move forward, and then the contract just canceled, that's not a breach of contract either. That's not something you cure them for. So once they've gone through mediation, so basically, the Arizona Association of Realtors has a buyer-seller dispute program that they would go into to mediate or arbitrate. So there's a difference between the two. So like the mediation is the first step. It's a process in which the parties meet with the impartial person who helps to resolve the dispute informally and confidentially. So agreeing to mediate does not mean that the parties are agreeing to settle, but simply just means that they are trying to resolve a dispute without going to court. They don't give up any right to pursue other legal remedies if that mediation is not successful. The next step, if they can't mediate, is arbitration, which is a process that's similar to court litigation, but it's usually quicker, more cost effective. And if mediation does not resolve the dispute, the unresolved dispute may be submitted to binding arbitration unless either party opts out within 30 days after the conclusion of mediation. But you have to give written notice of that. So, and there are a few exclusions from what is acceptable, what ADRE will do for mediation and arbitration. So these exclusions are if somebody were to bring a small claims up to 3,500, if it's an action up to 3,500 in small claims, that's excluded, doesn't go to mediation or arbitration. If it's a judicial or non-judicial foreclosure or other action proceeding to enforce like a deed of trust, mortgage, or agreement for sale, that's typically lenders and things, or an unlawful entry or detainer action, or the filing or enforcement of a mechanic's lien, or any matter that's dealing with probate court, or the filing of a lis pendens on the property. All that's excluded. And of course, any prevailing party in any dispute is entitled to be awarded their attorney's fees and costs. So basically, all of that is to say, there is a process to this, but if you're getting to that point where, it's not just a matter of the seller takes the earnest money and moves on, which is usually what happens if there's a dispute. But occasionally we have had sellers decide they don't want to sell. If that happens, you're most likely having to cure them when they don't close. You're having to go through this mediation arbitration. You have to follow the contract. But long story short is you need to know where to point your buyer, but so basically if you're having a dispute and there's an issue, you need to notify me, and the individual party should be referred to legal counsel, because this is all very confusing. It's a lot. So it's all in the contract, but you are not attorneys. So don't give legal advice. Don't try and help them figure out the mediation and arbitration. You can point them to the section of the contract that states the process and tell them they need to seek legal counsel, because this is out of our scope and area of expertise. We are not attorneys. We cannot give legal advice. If we get to this point, just notify me, and we need to point them to legal counsel who can help them walk through the steps of the contract and what needs to happen next. This is just kind of an overview, so you have an understanding of what the contract says and what needs to happen, but ultimately, you're just going to point them in the direction, refer to this section of the contract, and you need to seek legal counsel to walk you through the situation and the steps and what comes next, because that's not something that we should be doing. That's outside of our scope of area of expertise. So, excuse me. So anyways, I know that's kind of confusing and a whole lot of legal mumbo jumbo, which is why we send them on to legal advice, and we can't help with that because we're not made to do that. So anyway, if you have questions, just reach out to me. But obviously, if stuff's going wrong, just let me know, and I can help point you in the right direction and what you need to do next. So always give me a call if you're getting to that point where things are getting really sideways and this is going to go to a legal situation. Just notify me and I'll help you work through it.
Well, and the agents usually are pretty good about reaching out to us, even about a cure notice, because it's, it's kind of like, should I cure? Do I get to that point? Am I that agent? I don't want to be that agent, right? So do I cure them over this stuff? Because if you're at the beginning, so we can help you guys kind of through that process of, Lisa can help strong arm and go, hey guys, like, get what we need. We don't want to have to cure you, right? But there is a time and place when you do need to cure, for sure. And we definitely don't want to hear about something bad happening, at 10 o'clock at night on Friday, because then there's nothing we can do. We can't even get a hold of attorneys. We do have a really good attorney though. She's awesome, but, we want to be able to help you guys. That's what we're there for. So, waiting for things to grow and mount up, that's never good. So usually you have a feeling, or you kind of already know something's going on. So just give us a heads up or talk us through the situation. Most of the time you can resolve it before it's escalated. So
Yeah. And yeah, most of the time too, sometimes once cooler heads prevail, things calm down. So, try not to get stressed if things are going sideways. Just, reach out to me, Tamara. Let us help, walk you through it. Cause sometimes things aren't necessarily as bad as they seem either. Cause I know it can be very, very stressful at times when your clients are upset with you, or, it's not even you, they're just taking it out on you because that's the only person they can take it out on. So just reach out and we can sort through it. So also just wanted to talk to you guys. If anyone is interested in being a TC at Bliss, let us know. We do have TCs for you guys that we have vetted and have met our guidelines on our agent info site. And if anyone else is interested in doing that, we're happy to talk to you about it and what that involves, and see, if it's something you qualify for, or they have a TC class if you need to attend that. But we're happy to walk you through that and work on that with you. Mara, do you have anything to add to that?
yeah, it's there's AAR has a class, we can help you. There is, a list of tasks and things. There's duties. There's different price points for what a TC will do. Different job duties require different price points. So, especially as we continue to grow, and we've always expressed that as growing brings more transactions. And, there are some agents that would prefer to be transaction coordinators. I think it's a great opportunity to do that, but you do need to know the paperwork. And I like that we were talking about the cure notice, and I think that we should always just refresh and read the paperwork. We're always so busy, go that we don't stop and read what we're doing and filling out. When was the last time you actually read the purchase contract? And when was the last time you actually read the Binzer or read what you were doing? Slow down. It just takes a couple of minutes, and read some of the changes that they're putting in. And especially as these lawsuits happen, you can see it affects everyone, and people are so happy. So the less you change the contracts, I never tamper with the contracts. You guys know that. My templates, So, but that means you need to know the contracts, know your timelines, and know how to respond on your counters and your addendums and everything. So, but that means if you're going to be a TC, that you also know all that paperwork and the timelines to help out that agent and that team. So that's really important.
Yeah. And truly, there are some of us that are really good at selling and some of us that are really good at paperwork. And it's totally okay if paperwork's not your forte.
Yeah, dude, I suck at paperwork, and I'm the first one to admit it. So, that's why I make those templates, because, and I'm dyslexic, man, I leave stuff off. I typo, I'm horrible. And I forget stuff all the time. So, and I hate turning in stuff. I suck at it. I openly admit it. There. There's nothing wrong with that.
No, there's not. I mean, where we
Own
all
it.
need to understand the contract and the timelines,
Yeah,
how it works. It's just not some people's fortes, and there is
yeah,
nothing wrong with that. It
yeah.
really
But I sure as heck know my timelines. And the first time that you forget that bender or forget to respond something or forget to send something over, you'll learn the hard way. So, and that's an expensive lesson. So anyway.
Yeah. So anyway, if you are interested in being a TC, reach out to Mara and I, and we can go through that with you and walk you through what we need to do for that. So I just wanted to do a couple of Sweet Assist housekeeping items with you guys. Be sure you're going into your profiles and turning on your chat notifications so you get the info and notes. When I make notes in there, it should be notifying you via email, but if you don't have your notifications turned on, you're not gonna know. It won't notify you. And be sure, so first off, let me just tell you guys, I've found this week that a couple people are like, I don't know why you declined my doc. And I'm like, what do you mean? It's right there. But we found out that there's supposed to be a little bubble next, and it went away next to the checklist item when I make a note. So it's all in the chat and it's there if you click on the note button above, but there should be a bubble telling you like the note that I made, and that has disappeared. They're working on it right now. So just know that you're not crazy and I'm not crazy, because I kept going, but it's there. Just scroll up and read through the chat. So we were both right. Because it's there, but it wasn't there anymore. So I solved the mystery as to why you guys were like, I don't know why you declined my doc. So it wasn't you. The system has a glitch and they're fixing it right now. So just know that. But also just make sure like you're reviewing your checklist to make sure you've uploaded all the required docs. So when it comes time for closing, you're not chasing docs last minute. It's really hard to get things from agents when it's like closed or even almost closing. They become non-responsive once they have been paid and they don't care about getting you docs. So just keep up with that. Make sure you're double checking the chat, the checklist, the notes, so you're on top of what's going on in your file. If you load something in the wrong placeholder, please remove it. Don't leave it there. And if you can remember, hit the submit for review button after you load docs for review. They did make us a button, so it's easier for me to find docs that didn't get submitted for review, but it's glitchy still. So I don't always know if you don't hit the submit for review button, they don't always pop up. So if you can try to remember, it's helpful. So just a couple things there.
Lisa, I have a comment/question with Sweet Assist.
Uh-huh.
Is there any way that we can ask them to help us put the checklist in somewhat of like a chronological order and then separate the listing side with the buy side? I think for new agents, it can be really challenging, even with guidance from the mentors and even myself. Like I missed something on the last one and I'm like impeccably organized and on top of stuff. And I'm like, okay, if I'm missing it, then like I know other people are missing it. Is there any way that they could help us kind of organize the checklist a little bit more user friendly?
Well, all the listing docs are already at the top. They're the first set of docs. And then all the purchase docs are down below. I can try and move a few things around. I know when I added some stuff, I think it bumped a few things, but all the listing docs are the first set, and then it goes into the purchase contract docs. So I'll look at seeing if I can move a few things around, but for the most part, they're already in order.
Okay. Trying to think.
I know I've
Anyway,
asked for that same thing too. I know it does get really confusing. It's not just new agents. It's very cluttered sometimes. So I am right there with you. I'll vote on that too.
Well, like I said, all the listing docs are already at the top, so I'm not really sure how much more to change it, but I can look at the other ones and see if there's anything I can move around. But the listing docs are at the top, and then it goes into the purchase docs. So I'll see if there's anything else to be done, but unfortunately I can't take out the listing docs, or they have to be there. That's just the way it is. Even though it might not be a listing, but those are the ones that are at the top, and then it goes into purchase docs. We have the Cromford report coming up with Tina Tambor with Navi Title. It's May 18th at 10 a.m. It's on Zoom. It's a great monthly thing she goes on for it's about an hour and 15 minutes. Goes over great information on what's currently happening in the market and the sales trends, etc. And it's really good information to have to be on top of things for your clients and kind of how to navigate or see what's happening, because the market's been changing. Like, we were slow for a few months. Now it's really picked up again. We're back to multiple offers, that kind of thing. So I think it helps you be in the know and know how to best navigate for your clients with your purchase contracts and what they need to do to be successful and get the property they want. So if you can join that, I highly recommend it. We have our next coffee and a book coming up on May 22nd. This one is on audio, so you can listen to it as well as read it. So I've started it. It's an interesting book, so hopefully you guys are enjoying that. We also have an investment class coming up, leveraging your investment properties. It's going to be May 24th. It's via Ring Central with CMG Home Loans. And in order to join, the way they have it is you have to scan this QR code here on the flyer, and it was also emailed out, and it's in Facebook in events. Next meeting will be next June 8th. It's always the second Thursday of the month at 1, unless otherwise noted. So we'll see you next month. And then last but not least, we have our recognition for the month of May. So our May President's Award goes to Carol Cohen. I'm pretty sure Carol's not on here right now. She's camping actually, but Carol's been with us pretty much since the beginning, and she recently retired actually. So she's really focused on her real estate business, and she's been super helpful to a lot of our agents and helping you guys out with things, get things you need. And so we just appreciate her so much and wanted to recognize her. And then our Agent of the Month award goes to Marco. And I believe Marco's on here. So let me just tell you guys, Marco's fairly new with us. He's been working the Op City leads, and he's been super successful with those.
And the sync ones.
Yeah, he's working the leads and he's killing it, guys. And he definitely earned this one. We've had some great conversations this week. He's got a really crazy buyer. He could seriously write a book. So you should ask him the story sometimes about all the crazy stuff that's gone on this week with this one buyer. It's been comical. I got a good chuckle out of it. So we've been dealing with some stuff, but it's been awesome, and he's handled it like a pro. So just wanted to recognize him. And that's all I got. So
I have a quick question about the Bliss, the Navi Title Tina Tambor thing on the 10th. Did you say that's at 10 a.m.?
yes.
Okay, I'm looking through the events calendar in Facebook, and I don't see that one anywhere, so I can get registered for it. Is there a link I missed?
If you didn't get the email, you need to reach out to Shannon Goldberg with Navi Title. She can send it to you.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you have to click on their link and then they email you, and they changed that at Grand Canyon, I think last year, how they were going about it.
That's how I usually do it. I just, I haven't gotten anything from them. But I was already working with Bliss before Shannon went over there. So I'm sorry, not Bliss, with Navi. So I'm already I work with Katie. So I'll reach out to Katie and see if she can get me that link.
Oh, yeah.
Thank-
That's
Okay,
weird.
thank you.
I would have thought they would have sent that to you. So yeah,
Okay, I'll do it. Thank you so much.
you're welcome. Anyone else have any questions or anything before we end the meeting? All right. Well, you guys have a wonderful rest of the week and Mother's Day weekend.
Thank you guys so much for
Thank
everything.
you.
Happy Mother's Day to all you mamas.
Congrats. Good job, you guys.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye, everyone. Good to see you.
Bye.
Bye.
you. Bye-bye.
Come out of this and